बाबुल हवाइज भी हैं। आप ऐसी एक सलावात पढ़ें ऊंची आवाज में, अल्लाहुम्मा सल्ली अला मुहम्मद व आले मुहम्मद। जमीन पर कट के गिरे, सर बुलंद होने लगे। जमीन पर कट के गिरे, सर बुलंद होने लगे। चिराग नोके सिना पे बुलंद होने लगे। चिराग नोके सिना पर बुलंद होने लगे। फिजा में फैल रही है रसूल की खुशबू। फिजा में फैल रही है रसूल की खुशबू। सरे फर्श अली अकबर बुलंद होने लगे। सरे फर्श अली अकबर बुलंद होने लगे। जमा के ओनो मोहम्मद कदम रकाबों में, जमा के ओनो मोहम्मद कदम रकाबों में बशक्ले हमजा व जाफर बुलंद होने लगे। बशक्ले हमजा व जाफर बुलंद होने लगे। इधर से नाराए हिल्मिन बुलंद होने लगा। इधर से नाराए हिल्मिन बुलंद होने लगा। उधर से झूले में असगर बुलंद होने लगे। उधर से झूले में असगर बुलंद होने लगे। अबू तुराब का बेटा अगर इशारा करे, अबू तुराब का बेटा अगर इशारा करे, जमी छोड़ के महवर बुलंद होने लगे। महवर बुलंद होने लगे। अजाने अर्जई जख्मों पे सरसराने लगी। हुसैन सिजदे में झुककर बुलंद होने लगे। बा मश्क, ये मश्क मश्के सकीना है, इसको ज़ेबा है। ये मश्क मश्के सकीना है, इसको ज़ेबा है कि ये अलम के बराबर बुलंद होने लगे। इसको ज़ेबा है कि अलम के बराबर बुलंद होने लगे। ये बेरिदाई रज़ाए खुदा में है, वरना ये बेरिदाई रज़ाए खुदा में है, वरना हर एक समत से चादर बुलंद होने लगे। सर झुकाए जो कैदी खामोश बैठा है, करे खताब तो मिंबर बुलंद होने लगे। करे खताब तो मिंबर बुलंद होने लगे। जहां जहां भी दबाई गई सदाए ज़मीर, वहां वहां से 72 बुलंद होने लगे। वहां वहां से 72 बुलंद होने लगे। मैं आसमां को सुनाऊं ज़मीन का नोहा, मैं आसमां को सुनाऊं ज़मीन का नोहा। बिछाऊं फर्शे अज़ा, घर बुलंद होने लगे। घर बुलंद होने लगे। सलावात बर मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद। अल्लाहुम्मा सल्ली अला मुहम्मद व आले मोहम्मद। एक बार फिर सलावात भेजे। अल्लाहुम्मा सल्ली अला मुहम्मद व आले मोहम्मद। मुंतज़िर बाबा की थी 14 बरस से बेटियां। गमज़दा रहती थी हरदम, झीलती थी सख्तियां। अश्क बारी साथ इनके करती है तकदीर भी। मौला काज़म पे हुए इतने सितम, जोरो जफा कोई वारस ही नहीं है। पुल पे है अलबत्ता पड़ा, आसमां भी रो रहा है, खुलद की जागीर भी। पुल पे काज़म के जनाजे पर जो है गिरिया कुना, मादरे हुसैन है, बेटे पे है नोहा कुना। वारसे कौनो मकां है, माल के ततहीर है। आज जंजीरों में जकड़ा एक जनाजा है उठा, देखकर गुर्बत का आलम दिल शिकस्ता हो गया। लिख के रोता है कलम रिजवान का तहरीर भी। मूसा काज़म पे गिरिया करती है जंजीर भी। नोहा करने आ गई हैं ज़ैनब दलगीर भी। सलावात पर मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम।
बर मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु जी होगा जी होगा। एक बार मिल के बारे दीजिए सल्लल्लाहु। जंजीरों में जकड़ाए लाशा बतलाओ किसका है। जंजीरों में जकड़ाए लाशा बतलाओ किसका है। बगदाद के पुल पे रखा, बगदाद के पुल पे रखा जनाजा ये किसका है। जंजीरों में जकड़ा ये लाशा बतलाओ किसका है। खून इमरान के सिवा मेरे खुदा बतलाओ ये, बतलाओ ये। तेरे इस दीन पे है सारा ये किसका है। जंजीरों में जकड़ा ये लाशा बतलाओ किसका है। काज़िम का लाशा देख कर पुकारे जिन्नो मला, जिन्नो मला। मजदूरों ने लाशा उठाया ये किसका है। जंजीरों में जकड़ा ये लाशा बतलाओ किसका है। 14 बरस काटे हैं जिसने कैद खाने में, कैद खाने में। अहले जफा सोचो जरा, फर्जंद ये किसका है। जंजीर जंजीरों में जकड़ा ये लाशा, बतलाओ किस का है। बेटे हैं जिसके 18 पड़ा है ये लावारिस, पड़ा है ये लावारिस। बाबा उम्मत ने कैद में, बाबा उम्मत ने कैद में मारा, ये किसका है। जंजीरों में जकड़ा ये लाशा, बतलाओ किस का है। बगदाद के पुल पे कहते थे लोग आपस में ये, बगदाद के पुल पे कहते थे लोग आपस में ये, आपस में ये। परदेस में बर्बाद गर, परदेस में बर्बाद गर हुआ, ये किसका है। जंजीरों में जकड़ा ये लाशा, बतलाओ किस का है। बगदाद के पुल पे रखा, बगदाद के पुल पे रखा जनाजा, ये किसका है। जंजीरों में जकड़ा ये लाशा, बतलाओ किस का है। मौला मूसा काजिम, मौला पर मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि
मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद सलावत, अल्लाहुम्मा सल्ली अला मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद। असीर बगदाद बेटियों को याद करे, असीर बगदाद बेटियों को याद करे। किसको बताए अपने, किसको बताए अपने दर्द जुदाई के, असीर बगदाद बेटियों को याद करे। कोई नहीं है जिसको पैगाम दे के, कोई नहीं है जिसको पैगाम दे के भेजे मदीना, जिसको सामान दे के अहवाल पूछे घर के, अहवाल पूछे घर के आती हवाओं से, असीर बगदाद बेटियों को याद करे। मेरे रज़ा को बोलो बाबा से मिलने आए, मेरे रज़ा को बोलो बाबा से मिलने आए, अपना हसीन चेहरा आके मुझे दिखलाए। बरसों की जुदाई, बरसों की जुदाई आके मिटाए, असीर बगदाद बेटियों को याद करे। एक फाहशा को भेजा हारून रशीद ने, एक फाहशा को भेजा हारून रशीद ने, तोहमत इमाम पे सोची पलीद ने। मुआफ करना औरत बोली, मुआफ करना औरत बोली, फर्जंद ज़हरा के, असीर बगदाद बेटियों को याद करे। अरमान मौला हमको आप थे अकेले, अरमान मौला हमको आप थे अकेले, ऐसे ज़िया कोई भी दर्द न झेले। जंजीर पहने मौला, जंजीर पहने मौला, दुनिया से चल दिए, असीर बगदाद बेटियों को याद करे। दुरूद बर मोहम्मद।
बाबा से बुलंद सलवात। अली जनाबी जनाब भी है, अली जनाब भी बाजुए जनाब भी है, खुदा का शेर भी और बूतरा भी है, सफ़ों को जोड़ने वाला अली बवक्त नमाज, सफ़ों को जोड़ने वाला अली बवक्त नमाज, अगर हो जंग तो फिर सब शिकन खिताब भी है, अली जनाब भी सलवात। सूरह फातिहा। एक सूरह फातिहा मौलाना साहब के मरहूमीन के लिए और तमाम के लिए। कत्ल काजिम का दिया हुक्म जो अब्बासी ने, कत्ल काजिम का दिया हुक्म जो अब्बासी ने, सर खुले रोज़े अक़दस से पैगंबर निकले, मुर्तज़ा आए तड़प कर न जपे अजरब से, बाल बिखराए खलीफा के महल में पहुँचे, बाल बिखराए खलीफा के महल में पहुँचे, ख्वाब में उसने शाह उक़दा कुशा को देख और रोते हुए महबूब खुदा को देखा, और रोते हुए महबूब खुदा को देखा, नीम ख्वाबी में मोहम्मद की सुनिए फरियाद, क्या यही मेरी रिसालत का सिला है, जल्ला हो चुका जुल्म से उम्मत के मेरा घर बर्बाद, कब तक आखिर ये सितम झेलेगी मेरी औलाद, कब तक आखिर ये सितम झेलेगी मेरी औलाद, राहते सारे जमाने की जमाने के लिए रह गई हाल मेरी ठोकर खाने के लिए, रह गई हाल मेरे ठोकरे खाने के लिए, तंगो तारीख वो हुजरा वो मोहम्मद का कम, रोशनी का ना जहाँ दखल हुआ काला गुजर, कभी होती थी ना शाम और नाती थी कुल्फत शाम के जिंदान जफा से बढ़कर, कुल्फत शाम के जिंदान जफा से बढ़कर, वहाँ सितम चंदे गिरफ्तारों में बढ़ जाते थे, यहाँ सब एक ही कैदी पे सितम डालते थे, यहाँ सब एक ही कैदी
सितम ढाते थे, बेकसी उनकी रकम करते हैं यो ज़हर बेदात से मारा गया जाने शब, तीन दिन फर्श पे तड़पाए मोहम्मद का जिक्र, बेड़िया पहने हुए कैसे निकला मर, बेड़िया पहने हुए कैसे निकला मर कर, कलमा को बैठे रहे दफन को हमारा, बोले बगदाद पे लाशे को यूं ही डाला, बोले बगदाद पे लाशे को यूं ही डाला, और भी हुक्म सितमगार से ढाया ये एक तख्ते पे रखा लाशे सुल्तान, खेचते फिरते रहे कूचा बकूचा उसे, फातिमा रो के पुकारिए बसन रंजोता, फातिमा रो के पुकारिए बसन रंजोता, आए तारीख है अब सारा जहां नजरों में, फिर गला लाशे मुस्लिम का समान नजरों में, फिर गया लाशे मुस्लिम का समान नजरों में, शोर गुल सुन के सुलेमान महल से निकला, हाल तब मूसा काजिम का शहादत को सुना, अपने बेटे को निदादी के अरे तकते हो क्या, छीन लो लाशे मौलाए गरीब गुरब, छीन लो लाशे मौलाए गरीबुल गुरबा, जान पर खेल के तब उसके जिगर बंदों ने लिया कांधों पे, ताबूत को फर्जंदों पे ले लिया कांधों को, ताबूत को फर्जंदों ने, शेर जो टूट पड़े भाग गए दुश्मन की, सुलेमान मनादी के हो गई हाय मारा गया वो शाह बसर रंजोता, जिसके नाना है नबी मूसा काज़िम A.S, जिसके नाना है नबी मूसा काज़िम A.S, सुन के ये आहों के नारे जिगरों से निकल, सर खुले शह के आजादार घरों से निकले, सर खुले शह के आजादार घरों से निकले, गुस्ले मैयत को जो तख्ते पे उतारे गए, ज़ेरे मलबूस थी जिंदान की सख्ते हमरा, हाय वो तोके करा वो जंजीरे, जिसमें मुर्दा के ये जेवर है शकावत के, जिसमें मुर्दा के जेवर है शकावत के, लोग कहते थे मुसलमान वो शकी कैसा, जिसने जंजीरों में लाशे को जकड़ रखा है, जिसने जंजीरों में लाशे को जकड़ रखा है, लाश तुरबत में उतारी तो बसद शेवत, किसी बीबी ने कहा हाय मेरा नूर, उसको देखा ना किसी ने भी सुने सब ने, ऐ मेरे काजी में मजलूम आजादार, ऐ मेरे काजी काज़िम मज़लूम मज़ादार में हूँ, याद में प्यासों की मुँह अश्कों से धोने वाले, अलविदा है मेरे शब्बीर के रोने वाले, अलविदा है मेरे शब्बीर के रोने वाले, क़ात्ल काज़िम का सलवात।
Before we begin, please recite Surah Fatiha for my Banafumeen. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allahumma أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الذي لا يبلغ مدحته القائلون ولا يوسينا معه العادون ولا يودي حقه المجتهدون الذي لا يدركه بهد الهمم ولا يناله غوص الفتن الذي ليس لصفته حد محدود ولا نات موجود ولا وقت محدود ولا أجل ممدود فترى الخلائق بقدرته ونشر الرياح برحمته ووتد بالسخر ميدان عرض ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وحبيبنا وحبيب رب العالمين بالقاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين واللعن على أدائهم أجمعين من أول يوم ظلمهم إلى قيام يوم الدين أما بعد فقال الله سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه المبين وقوله الحق بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الذين ينفقون في السراء والضراء والكاظمين الغيظ والعافين عن الناس والله يحب المحسنين صدق الله العلي العظيم اللهم صل. Dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We're here tonight commemorating the Shahadat of the seventh light of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We're gathered here tonight to commemorate the Shahadat of Imam Musa Kazim A.S. And when it comes to this personality, you have to realize that amongst all the Imams, if there was an Imam that was jailed for the longest amount of time, it was Imam Musa Kazim A.S. You have to remember that amongst all the Imams, Amir al-Mu'mineen passed away. When his taboot was brought, there weren't chains that were coming out of his taboot. Abu Abdullah al-Hussein al-Islam, he passed away. For 3 days, his body was lying in the sands of Karbala. But after the third day, Imam Zain al-Abidin, he came, he buried him. There were no chains. Imam Zain al-Abidin, who was taken from Karbala in chains to Kufa, from Kufa to Sham in chains, but when he passed away in Medina, yes, that's absolutely true, that the marks of chains were on his wrists and the marks of chains were on his neck, but there were no chains that were sticking out of the taboot. Of all of the Imams, the only Imam for whom there were chains coming out of the taboot, as the narration state, was Imam Musa Kazim A.S. Imam Musa Kazim. To the point where some of the narrations, they state that when they asked to remove the chains, they said, no, it's difficult. Why? Because the chains are engraved into the flesh. The chains are engraved into the flesh. This is the Masahib of Imam Musa Kazim A.S. Inshallah, we'll get to the Masahib. But this is the Imam who we've gathered tonight to commemorate his Shahadat. But what has this Imam given us? What does this Imam give to his Shi'as before he left? Amir al-Mu'mineen, he gave his ilm. Abu Abdullah al-Hussain alayhi salam, Imam Hassan alayhi salam, he gave his ilm. Imam Hussain alayhi salam, he gave courage to the Shi'as. Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salam, he gave to the Shi'as his du'as. Imam Muhammad Baqir alayhi salam, he gave to the Shi'as ilm. Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam, he gave to the Shi'as ilm. What did Imam Musa Kazim alayhi salam give to the Shi'as? What was it that he did? If you look at the life of Imam Kazim alayhi salam, you see that he gave something to the Shi'as that is on par with what the other Imams gave. Today, we have how many schools of thought in Islam? We have 4, 5 schools of thought. Meaning what? Meaning the Imams that Muslims consider to be Imams, there's only 4 in the Sunni school of thought and 1 in the Shia school of thought, meaning we are the Jafari sect, correct? Then you have the Hanbali, you have the Maliki, you have the Shafi, and you have the Hanafi. So altogether, there are 5. Altogether, there are 5, and all these, within these 5, it breaks up into 72, 73, according to the narrations, correct? What did Imam Musa Kazim A.S. give to us? At the age of 6, he embarrassed 2 of the Imams of the Sunni school of thought. At the age of 6. Who am I talking about? Abu Hanifa, he comes and he's sitting in front of the door of Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad. He's sitting in front of the door of Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam. Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam has not given him permission to come in. Abu Hanifa, he's waiting there. A group of people, they come, they go see Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, they come out. Another group of people, they go in, they see Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, they come out. And Abu Hanifa is still waiting there, correct? While he's waiting there, he sees a boy. When he sees this boy, he asks him who he is. And this young man, he says that, I am Musa ibn Jafar. I am Musa ibn Jafar. I am basically Imam Kazim alayhi salam. When he found out that this is the son of Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam, he asked him a question. The first question he asked him is, if I need to use a bathroom and I have nowhere to go, how do I use the bathroom? Where do I go? The Imam at the age of 6, he tells Abu Hanifa, what do you need to do? You can use the bathroom wherever you want, but there's some conditions that you have to fulfill. What are those conditions? The first condition is that you do not face the Qibla. You do not face the Qibla. You do not put your back towards the Qibla. You do not do whatever you need to do under a tree that bears fruit. You do not do it in the middle of the street. And there are other mustahabbat that you need to look at, or there are other makruhat that you need to look at. After you look at that, then you can do it whatever you want. He says this. Now Abu Hanifa is looking at this 6-year-old and he says, I've never known a 6-year-old to know fiqh the way he's telling me. So he asked him another question. The second question he asked him, he goes, oh son, the af'al, the sins that an individual does, these actions that an individual does, who do they come from? Do they come from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or do they come from the individual? Look at the answer Imam Musa Kazim A.S. gives at the age of 6. He says to Abu Hanifa, he says, look, there are a couple of possibilities here. One is that the action only and only comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If the action only and only comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not have a right to punish us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not have a right to punish us. The second is this action that this individual does, it comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and this individual. If that's the case, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is more powerful than us. The one that is more powerful than us, they have no right to punish the weak. The weak. The third is that no, this action that this individual does, it comes only and only from him. And if it only and only comes from this individual, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has every right to punish this individual if He wants, or forgive this individual if He wants. At the age of 6, what was Abu Hanifa's belief? Abu Hanifa's belief was that all the actions that we do, they come from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. At the age of 6, Imam Musa Kazim A.S. is taking this aql of Abu Hanifa and he's basically telling him, you're this old and you do not even understand what I understand. Embarrassed Abu Hanifa. Abu Hanifa is still waiting there, correct? When another group of people, they come in, Abu Hanifa, he just goes in with that group of people. When he goes in with that group of people, Imam Sadiq A.S., he sees them, but he doesn't say anything. He just waits. When this group of people, they finish talking to Imam Sadiq A.S., Abu Hanifa, he gets up, he goes, Yabna Rasulullah, I want to ask you something. The people of Kufa, they curse at the Sahaba. Why don't you tell them to stop? Why don't you tell them to stop? Imam Sadiq A.S., he says, Abu Hanifa, they won't listen to me. They won't listen to me. And he says to them, he says to the Imam, why won't they listen to you? You're the son of the Prophet. Why won't they listen to you? Imam, he looks at him and he goes, you yourself don't listen to me. You yourself, you don't listen to me. And you're one of my students. You yourself don't listen to me. And you consider yourself to be a faqih. When you, who considers yourself to be an alim, when an alim like yourself doesn't listen to me, even though I have more knowledge than you, then how will the juhala, how will the awam listen to me? Another Imam, he asked them, I hear, and you've all heard this, I hear that you do qiyas when you give rulings. And Abu Hanifa says, yes, I do, Yabna Rasulullah, that's true, I do qiyas. I do qiyas. And he asked them, tell me, what's better? What has more reward? Fasting or prayer? Abu Hanifa gives his answer. He goes, what's more najis? Urine or semen? Abu Hanifa, he gives his answer. Inshallah, some other time, I know my father's gone through these too, I've gone through these too, I don't want to keep repeating myself. But Abu Hanifa keeps giving his answer. And the Imam, he keeps telling Abu Hanifa, if that's the case, for example, if urine is more najis, then why is it that after ejaculation, the whole body needs to be pak? Whereas when you urinate, only and only the part that urinates needs to be tahir. He stays quiet. No answer. If prayer has more reward, then why is it that when it comes to prayer for a woman, she doesn't need to make up her missed prayers when she's on a monthly cycle, but when it comes to the fast, she needs to make up the fast? Abu Hanifa, he stays quiet. He had no reply. This is who? The father of Imam Musa Kazim A.S. This is who? Sadiq ala Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad. This is who? Baqirain al-ulum. Sahih. This is the same knowledge that Imam Musa Kazim A.S. inherited. They asked Imam Musa Kazim, inshallah, they asked Imam Musa Kazim A.S., Yabna Rasulullah, ilm, has ilm been revealed onto your hearts? Knowledge, has it been revealed onto your hearts? Or no, do you guys hear what you need to hear? What does the Imam reply? He says, it's both of the cases. It's both of the cases. Meaning what? Meaning that knowledge has already been revealed to our hearts, but the new information that comes, we hear that. What do I mean? Every Imam, they ask the same question to Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam. They ask the Mawla, as time goes on, there are new masail that come. There are new masail that come. How do you come up with an answer to these new masail? How do you get to a conclusion to these new masail? This religion is the religion of who? The Prophet ﷺ, correct? Whatever is halal in this religion will stay halal until the day of judgment. Whatever is haram in this religion will stay haram until the day of judgment. Correct? That's a narration from the Holy Prophet. But what does this mean? When they asked the Imam, what will happen or what happens when there is a new masala that arises? Because time, now in Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, it's not the same time as the Holy Prophet's time. There are new masail. Just like today, this isn't at the same time as the time of the Holy Prophet. New masail have come. They asked him, Yabna Rasulullah, how do you come to an answer? He goes, this masala, it comes from the Holy Prophet all the way to us. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. It comes from the Holy Prophet. The answer comes from the Holy Prophet to us. Meaning what? Meaning that whatever the new masala is, the Holy Prophet is going to decide. Why? Because this is his shariat. He decides what the answer is, and that answer is brought to all of the Imams. They hear this from whom? The angel that brings this answer. Just as for the Holy Prophet, ilm was given to him all at once on his heart, but at the same time it was revealed to him. The same way with the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, the knowledge of the Quran, it's there with them all at once. It was revealed to them all at once. But at the same time, this new knowledge that needs to come, they hear this new knowledge. Correct? 2, they asked Imam Musa Kazim A.S, Yabna Rasulullah, because tonight we're commemorating also the Shahadat of Hazrat Abu Talib A.S. So let's do the zikr of Hazrat Abu Talib A.S. They asked Imam Musa Kazim A.S, Yabna Rasulullah, was Hazrat Abu Talib hujjat over Rasulullah? Was Hazrat Abu Talib A.S, was he hujjat over Rasulullah? Imam Musa Kazim A.S, he says, no, he was not hujjat. He was not hujjat over Rasulullah. He goes, then what was he? Imam, he says he was not hujjat over Rasulullah, but what did Hazrat Abu Talib have? Hazrat Abu Talib A.S, he was the waris of Anbiya. Imam Musa Kazim A.S, he says that Hazrat Abu Talib, he was the waris of Anbiya. Meaning what? Meaning that the tabarukat of the Anbiya, it came all the way to Hazrat Abu Talib A.S. The job of Hazrat Abu Talib A.S. was to give those tabarukat to the Holy Prophet when he came. That means what? If you're a waris, and that too a waris of a Nabi, can a non-Muslim be waris of a Nabi? A non-Muslim. Can a non-Muslim be a waris of a Nabi? No. Can a non-Muslim be waris of a Muslim? No, let alone a Nabi. What does Imam Musa Kazim A.S. say? He says that Hazrat Abu Talib, he had these tabarukat and he was supposed to hand these tabarukat to the Holy Prophet when he came. And that's exactly what he did. And they asked him, was he a Muslim? And Imam Musa Kazim A.S., he says the same thing. I mean, do not even doubt his Islam. Hazrat Abu Talib, he says himself, Hazrat Abu Talib was a Muslim. He was a mu'min. How can he not be when he had the tabarukat of Anbiya? They do not give their tabarukat to non-Muslims. They give their tabarukat, they do their wasiyah to only and only Muslims. From who? From the time of Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam. That's why you have narrations even in Sunni books that say that Hazrat Abu Talib was on the religion of who? The religion of Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam. The religion of Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam was what? A Hanif Muslim. The Quran itself says that Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam was not a Yahudi, was not a Nasrani, but he was a Hanif Muslim. So that means that Hazrat Abu Talib himself was a Hanif Muslim. Correct? Imam Musa Kazim A.S. What did he give to Islam? Imam Musa Kazim A.S., one of the hadiths of Imam Musa, look at the life. All of us today, we're so engrossed in the worldly matters that we forget about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Imam Musa Kazim A.S., he would pray every day to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and say, Ya Allah, can you take off these shackles of these worldly affairs so that I can worship you solely? So I can worship you completely. So I can worship you and only you. And what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala do? To test and show the resolve of Hazrat Musa Kazim A.S. What does he do? When Hazrat Musa Kazim A.S. was in jail for 15 years, when he went to the first jail in Basra, do you all know what he said? The first thing he says is, Ya Allah, thank you so much for putting me in this place so now I can worship only and only you. Thank you so much for putting me in this place so now I can worship only and only you. Look at Imam Musa Kazim. He's thinking about the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala where? In jail. He's thinking about the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala where? In jail, when he is a what? When he's a captive. Whereas we're completely free over here. And we're so negligent about the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We become so negligent. We engross ourselves in the umur of the world that we forget Salatul Fajr. That we forget Salatul Zuhr. We forget Salatul Asr. We don't even thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving us our opportunity to live another day. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Imam Musa Kazim A.S., when it came to his mother, Hamida, where was Hamida from? She was from North Africa. From today what's known as the Morocco, the Algeria area. She was from that area. Imam Jafar Sadiq A.S., when Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad, they were on the journey when Imam Musa Kazim A.S. was born. And when he was born, as soon as the servant came and told Imam Jafar Sadiq A.S. that you've been given a son, the first thing Imam does is he puts out a sufra. Today, it's known as Sufra Imam Sadiq. It's different from Niyaz Imam Jafar Sadiq A.S. The Indian subcontinent, they have something called Niyaz Imam Jafar Sadiq A.S. This is a bit different. But the Sufra of Imam Jafar Sadiq A.S., what was this? This was as soon as Imam Musa Kazim A.S. was born, Imam Sadiq A.S., he had a dawat. That dawat had so much food, even the narrator, he says that the food that was on this sufra, the food that was on this table, the food that was here, I'd never seen this type of food. And no matter how much we ate, it wouldn't end. No matter how much we ate, it wouldn't end. This is the sufra of Imam Jafar. The niyaz of Imam Jafar Sadiq A.S., there's some narrations that say that the Shias of Al Muhammad, they could not celebrate the death of Muawiyah alayhi openly. There's some narrations that say that the Shias of Al Muhammad, they could not celebrate the death of Muawiyah alayhi in the time of when? Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi's time, they could not celebrate the death of Muawiyah. They could not do it in the time of Imam Muhammad Baqir alayhi. They couldn't do it openly. But by the time Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi came, because there was a struggle between Banu Abbas and Banu Umayyah, and Banu Abbas, they hated Banu Umayyah. Because they hated Banu Umayyah, because of that, some of the Shias, what did they do? They started to celebrate this event. On the 22nd, the Niyaz, the Kundiki Niyaz that the Indian subcontinent has, that is that Niyaz Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi. What was it in the time of Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi? Some of the ulama, they say that at that time they were celebrating that event, but they were doing it and giving it that name of Niyaz Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi. Why? So it could be hidden. The taqiyya that was implemented, or the taqiyya that the Shias were doing at that time, in the time of Imam Jafar Sadiq, especially in the time of Imam Musa Kazim A.S. In the time of Imam Musa Kazim, the taqiyya that the Shias had to do, you all cannot even understand what they had to go through. The taqiyya. Today, there are people that complain, oh, it's really difficult, it's very hard for us to be Shias. No, you do not know what it means for it to be difficult to be a Shia. Do you guys know that in the time of Imam Musa Kazim A.S., the governor of Medina, he would tell people every day, the Shias, whenever you come, whenever you go, you come every morning and you sign a book that you are a Shia of Al Muhammad, or you are the offspring of Amir al-Mu'mineen. You would have to come and you'd have to sign this book. You'd have to come and you have to sign this book. To the point where when one of the offspring of Zayd al-Shaheed, they rose up, what did Mansur Diwanakhi do? What did Harun Rashid do? The event that the Ahlul Bayt consider to be the most significant after the event of Karbala. Do you know what event that is? It's known as the Battle of Faq. And in this battle, just as a Hussein had risen up in Karbala, in this battle there was also Hussein that rose up. Just as there was a Zainab that rose up in Karbala, there was also a Zainab that rose up here. Over 100,000 Shias were killed in this battle. And not only that, but the children were rounded up and they were taken to the Khalifa. The Khalifa asked, who are these people? Who are these people? And he told that these are the offspring of Ali. Who are they, children? And he said, so these are the troublemakers? And they say, yes, what should we do with them? The Khalifa, he says, I want you to line them all up. I want you to line them all up. And they say, why? What are you going to do? And he says, I want to see how many heads I can slice off in one strike. How many heads? I want to see how many heads I can cut off in one strike. Tell me, was it harder for them to be a Shia at that time, or is it harder for us to be Shias today? It was harder for them to be Shias at that time. But even the ones that considered themselves to be Shias, those people, they came out and they said proudly that I am a Shia of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad. This verse of the Quran that I started this lecture off with, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, those who spend in ease as well as in straightness, and those who restrain their anger. Wal kazimin al-ghayz. Those that strain, or those that hold their anger and they pardon men. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He loves the doers of good. There was a servant of Imam Musa Kazim A.S, and he ended up spilling water. Some narration says water, some narration says that it was food. When he spills that food on Imam Musa Kazim A.S, the verse that this servant, he recites is this verse of the Quran. As soon as he spills that food, he says in a loud voice, those people that restrain their anger. He says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, those people that restrain their anger. Imam Musa Kazim A.S, when he hears it, he says, I restrain my anger. I restrain my anger. And then he goes on to say, what? And those people that forgive. Imam Musa Kazim A.S, he says, I forgave you. And then the man, he continues the verse, and he says, what did they do? Wallahu yuhibbul muhsineen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He surely loves those people that do good. When this person, he recited this part of the verse, what was it that Imam Musa Kazim A.S did? Wallahu yuhibbul muhsineen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves those people that do good. What was the goodness that Imam Kazim A.S could do for this person? Was it to give him money? No. The goodness that the Imam did for this person was he freed him. The goodness that the Imam did for this person was he freed him. This is one aspect. This is one aspect. I want to look at another aspect of another servant of Imam Kazim A.S. Correct? If you consider yourself to be a servant of the Imams, then look at how you need to be, or look at how you cannot be. Another servant of Imam Kazim A.S. Imam Kazim A.S, he is looking at a date tree, and he's taking care of a date tree. One of his servants He climbs the date tree and he takes he cuts off one of the branches, and there are dates on that. And he takes it. When he takes it, a companion of Imam Musa Kazim A.S, he sees that. When he sees that, he tells the Imam, Yabna Rasulullah, the servant of yours, he broke off one of the branches and he took the dates for himself without permission. Imam, he calls that servant and he asks him, tell me, were you hungry? This is what? A servant of Imam Kazim A.S. He asked him, were you hungry? He says, no, I wasn't. Imam, he asked him again, did you need clothes? He goes, no, I did not need clothes. So then why did you do it? Mawla, my nafs told me to do it. He goes, okay. From today on, you can keep that branch, you can keep those dates, and you're free. You can keep those dates, and you're free. What does it mean? It means that if you truly want to be a servant of the Imams, then you live your life the way the Imam wants you to live your life. You live your life the way the Imam wants you to live your life. This is what it means to be a servant of the Ahlul Bayt. You do not take anything without first asking the Imam. You do not take anything without asking the Imam. Today, 125 million, 250 million, 300 million Shias, they consider themselves to be what? The servant of Imam Ali, the servant of Imam Hussain, the servant of Lady Zahra, the servant of Imam Hassan, the servant of Imam Zaman. How many of those are living their life the way Imam Zaman wants them to live their life? Very few. If there were truly enough people, Imam Zaman alayhi salam, he would have risen up. If there were truly enough people. Salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. If you separate Imam Musa Kazim A.S.'s life, in that time period that he was in this world, the tabligh that he did outside of jail wasn't more or greater or better than the tabligh that he did while he was in prison. The tabligh that he did, if it wasn't better, it was at the very least equivalent to the tabligh that he was doing outside. Meaning what? Meaning that when he was put in prison, Harun Rashid, he would gather people and he would send people to abuse the Imam in prison. And he would bring people that did not even speak Arabic. That did not even speak Arabic. There was a time when these people, they were from Africa. The narrations, they say that they were from Africa. They did not speak any Arabic. Harun Rashid, he wanted them to abuse the Imam. They go inside to the jail cell of the Imam. When they go inside to the jail cell of the Imam, they come out. When they come out, Harun, he asked them, I sent you in there to abuse the Imam. I sent you in there to hit him. I sent you in there to do all of that. What happened? They say to him, how could we do that to him? As soon as we went in there, he was speaking to us in our own language. And we loved it so much that we ourselves, we became Muslim. Ya Allah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. They tell him, how could we abuse such an individual? While we were in there, he was conversing with us in our own language. He was telling us masail. He was telling us answers to questions that we had in our own language. How could we abuse him? Another incident. Harun Rashid, he goes and he finds the most beautiful woman that was known to be at the time in Arabia. To try to misguide the Imam, he sends that woman into the prison cell. Why? Because he wanted to put tuhmat on the Imam, saying that this is what the Imam does. When he does this woman, she goes in there and she says to him that the Khalifa has sent me, you can do whatever you want. The Imam, he's busy in his worship. He's busy in his worship. She says it a second time. He doesn't reply. She says it a third time. When she says it the third time, Imam, he's finished with his worship, then he says and looks at this woman and he says to her, what need do I have of you when I have much better in Jannah? What need do I have of you when I have much better in Jannah? When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given me much better than you, what need do I have of you? This woman herself, she says, when she came out, before she came out, she herself, she was praying behind Imam Musa Kazim A.S. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad. Meaning what? Meaning a woman, even a woman like that, when she meets the representative of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when she meets the representative of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if she was of legitimate birth, she will accept his wilayah and she will surrender. She will surrender. If you all remember, there was also another woman in the time of the Holy Prophet who used to do the same kind of acts. The mother of Muawiyah al-Antalali. She used to do the same type of act. But she never accepted the nabuwat of the Holy Prophet. She never accepted the wilayat of the Holy Prophet. But this woman who does the same act, when she came and saw the wali of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, she started accepting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and she was doing sajda. Correct? That tells you what? That tells you that the mother of Muawiyah was of illegitimate birth. That's why she did not accept the Holy Prophet. Whereas this woman, she was of legitimate birth. That's why she accepted the wilayah, tells you. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Two, for my youngsters. Very famous narration. Imam Musa Kazim A.S, he's walking through the streets. When he's walking through the streets, he comes up across a house that is playing loud music. Loud music. When the servant of this house, some narrations it says the servant, some narrations it says it's the wife. Whoever it was, they were bringing trash out. When Imam passes by this individual, he asks this individual, is the person who owns this house, is this man a free man or is he a slave? The woman, she says, no, he's a free man. Imam, he says, wallah, he truly is a free man. If he was a slave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he would not be doing this. If he was a servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he would not be doing this. This woman, when she goes back inside, the man of the house, he asks her, what took you so long? She says, when I went outside to throw away the garbage, this man who seemed very pious, he came to me and he asked me, the man of this house, is he a servant or is he a free man? And he asked her, what did you say? She says, I said that he was a free man. Can you tell me how he looked? And she says to him that to me, he looked very pious. And I was conversing with him. That's when he realized that this man who asked this question, and what did he say in reply? He said, wallah, he truly is a free man. Because if he wasn't a free man, if he was a servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he wouldn't be listening to music like this. That's when this man, he realizes that that was Imam Musa Kazim A.S. that came to her. And what does he do? Without even putting on slippers, he runs out of his house looking for Imam Musa Kazim A.S. and he gets to him. When he catches up to him, he says, Ya Ibn Rasulullah, I'm very sorry for what I did. I'm very sorry for what I did. What's he known as amongst the Sufis today? Bishr al-Hafi, thank you so much. He's known as Bishr al-Hafi. Hafi means someone who walks out barefoot. He walked out barefoot. Why? Because he wanted to apologize to Imam of the time. For doing what? Listening to music. Does the Imam get mad at him? Does the Imam strike him? Does the Imam, what the parents do now, give him a timeout? No. All the Imam says is if this person is truly a servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then he wouldn't be doing this. That's what everyone needs to ask yourselves. That's what we all need to ask ourselves. If we are truly the servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if we are truly the servants of Imam Zaman alayhi salam, then the acts that we are doing, the actions that we are doing, will he be happy with those actions or will he be upset with those actions? That's it. That's it. This is something for the parents to remember. If your children are doing something that is sinful, there's no need to get upset and strike them over it. No. There's no need to do that. Just ask them simply, hey, you claim to be a Shia. You claim to be a Shia. What you're doing right now, is Imam Hussain going to be happy with what you're doing or no? That's it. Just leave it at that. That's it. There is no child that does not know who Hussain is. There's no child that does not know who Hussain is. No, that's all you need to ask them. It's what you're doing right now. Will Imam Hussain be happy with it or no? And you'll see that they'll start thinking. And they'll realize, no, Imam Hussain will not be happy with this. Little by little, they themselves, they'll stop. This is how you bring up individuals. This is how you raise the future generation. This is what you learn from the Imams. The Imam is doing this to who? Someone who's elderly, an adult. But that lesson can also be applied to youngsters. That lesson can also be applied to youngsters. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. One miracle of Imam Musa Kazim A.S, and then inshallah, the Masaib. As you're all aware, the Imams, they did not show their true nature, they did not show their true wilayat to everyone. No, they only showed it to certain individuals. And when it came to their knowledge, they looked at that individual's intellect and they gave him answers. For example, a person comes to Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen al-Islam and he asks Amir al-Mu'mineen, Imam Jafar Sadiq al-Islam also, Imam Muhammad Baqir al-Islam also. We read in the Quran, Qul huwallahu had, Allahu samad. They came to Mawla and they asked him, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen. Or, for example, Imam Jafar, Ya Ibn Rasulullah, what does samad mean? Amir al-Mu'mineen, he tells them that samad is that individual or that thing that does not rely on anything else. It's completely independent. Completely independent. They asked Imam Musa Kazim A.S, Ya Ibn Rasulullah, what does samad mean? Imam Musa Kazim A.S, he tells them, samad is that thing that does not have an interior. That thing that does not have an interior. You might be thinking, Imam Ali alayhi salam, he gave a different reply. Imam Musa Kazim alayhi salam, he gave a different reply. Why is that? Why is that? It's not a different reply. The question goes into depth. Imams are looking at the intellect of the individual. The answer can be put together. When Imam Ali alayhi salam, he says that samad is that individual that does not depend on anyone. Imam Kazim alayhi salam, he says that samad is that thing that does not have an interior. What does that mean? If it has an interior, that means that there is also an exterior. Interior is inside, correct? If I have an inside, that means that I have a outside. If there's an outside, then this inside is dependent on that outside, correct? When Imam Ali alayhi salam, he says that it needs to be independent of everything. Imam Musa Kazim alayhi salam, he says that there is no interior. They go hand in hand, it goes in depth. Meaning what? Meaning that if there is an interior, then it is dependent. If there's an interior, then it is dependent. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cannot be dependent on anything. That's what samad means. There is no interior, because if there's an interior, there's an exterior. If there's an interior and exterior, then he is dependent on that interior and exterior. There's levels. It's not that the answers are completely different. No, the Imams are looking at the intellect of the individual and they're giving the answer. When it comes to the miracle of Imam Kazim alayhi salam, one of his companions, they asked the Imam, Ya Ibn Rasulullah, can you show me the power that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you? And Imam, he says, what do you want to see? Can you just show me a little bit? A little bit. A little bit. So Imam, he tells him, okay, close your eyes. He closes his eyes. Then Imam, he tells him to open his eyes. When he opens his eyes, he sees that the roof of the house is completely gone. And he's looking up at the Imam. When he's looking up at the Imam, he tells him, I want you to close your eyes now. He closes his eyes. When he closes his eyes, the Imam, he tells him to open his eyes. When he opens his eyes, he sees that it's completely dark. And the man himself, he says that I got scared. Imam, he says, do you know where we're at? He says, Ya Ibn Rasulullah, I don't know where we're at. He goes, this is the darkness. This is the darkness that Zulqarnain wants you to go through. This is the darkness that the alim that was going to teach Hazrat Musa a.s, he went through to get to that fountain that will make him live forever. Meaning Hazrat Khizr, this is the darkness that Hazrat Khizr a.s, he went through to get to that fountain. Imam, he tells him, close your eyes. When he closes his eyes, then Imam, he tells him to open his eyes. He opens his eyes and he sees that he's in a city. But that city looks nothing like Medina. It looks nothing like Medina. The buildings are different. Imam, when he asked Imam, Ya Ibn Rasulullah, what is this place? He goes, in this place are the inhabitants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that only and only obey our commands. This is a world where the inhabitants, they only and only obey our commands. Imam, he tells him, close your eyes. He closes his eyes. Tells him, open your eyes. He opens his eyes and he sees that he's back in the house of Imam Musa Kazim A.S. Without even taking a step forward, without even taking a step back, what does he do? He shows this individual what? The miracles that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bestowed upon him. Without even taking a step. This was Imam Musa Kazim A.S. This was Imam Musa Kazim. But when it came to this Imam, the only Imam, like I said in the beginning, the only Imam whose tabut came out with zanjeers. And those zanjeers, those chains, were so thick that they could not even take them off. Why? Because those chains, they were embedded into the skin of Imam Musa Kazim A.S, according to some narrations. Imam Musa Kazim A.S, when he was taken to his last jail cell, do you guys know how that jail cell was? Where the narrations, they state that the Imam, he could not even stand up completely in that jail cell, nor could he lay down and open up his legs. It was very difficult for the Imam to pray. Sallallahu alayka ya Rasulallah. Sallallahu alayka ya Amir al-Mu'mineen. Sallallahu alayki ya Siddiqatu Fatima. Sallallahu alayka ya Hasan al-Mujtaba. Sallallahu alayka ya Gharib al-Ghuraba. Ya Aba Abdullah al-Hussain. Brothers and sisters, when Imam Musa Kazim A.S. was placed in that jail wasn't a cell that you and I think of. No, that jail, it was a hole in the ground. And what did these people do? They put a rock on top of that hole so the Imam, he would not even know if it was daytime or if it was nighttime.
The Imam had told those people that, hey, when it's daytime, when it's Fajr time, can you let me know so I can start my Fajr prayers? Brothers, sisters, there are some narrations that state that these individuals that taken that rock off for a minute just so they could give the Imam food. As soon as he put his head out to see if it was daytime or nighttime, what do these individuals do? They start kicking at the Imam's face and they put him back down. They start kicking at the Imam's face, and when the Imam he goes back down, they cover that hole again. Brothers and sisters, when the Imam he was poisoned, what did they do after the Imam was poisoned? They let the people know. How did they let the people know? The Imam he had told 4 people, he had paid 4 people. I want you to take my janazah and go to the bridge of Baghdad. Why? So the Shias can know. What did Imam do? He paid 4 people to take his janazah. You do not see that Abu Abdullah Hussain, what did he do? He paid for the land, but he did not pay people to bury him. He paid for the land, but he did not pay people to bury. Imam Ali, when he was being buried, who took his janazah? His sons took his janazah. The Holy Prophet, who took his janazah? Amir al-Mu'mineen, he buried him. Lady Zahra, who took the Amir al-Mu'mineen? Imam Hussain al-Islam, who buried his janazah? Imam Sajjad al-Islam. But who was it that took out his janazah from that jail cell? It was 4 people that Imam Musa Kazim al-Islam paid. And when they bring that janazah and they leave it on the bridge of Baghdad, what do they say? They yell out, oh, Rafizi, your Imam has passed away. Come and look at your Imam. When these people come, when the Shias come, they look at the Imam and they see that his color is completely changed. There was a doctor amongst them, and this doctor, he happened to be a Christian, and this person, he says, where is the offspring of this person? Where are the warisin of this person? One of the Shias, the Imam, he looked at him, he says, why do you want to know where they are? He says that because they can ask for blood money. This man, he was poisoned. I see that the poison has covered his whole body. His face has completely changed. Brothers, sisters, Imam, when he was being buried, who came to bury him? Imam Riza al-Islam, he came to bury his father. When he buried his father, yes, Imam Riza al-Islam, he came and he buried his father. When Imam Zain al-Abidin, he went to go bury his father, Lady Zainab, she has gotten up to do Salat al-Layl and she asked, oh, Sayyid al-Sajjad, where are you? There's no answer. Imam Zain al-Abidin, when he gets to Karbala, he sees that there are some women there crying, and when they see Imam Zain al-Abidin, they start to leave. When they start to leave, Imam Zain al-Abidin, he says, oh, my sisters, oh, my mothers, can you please wait? I want to know who you are. And they ask him, who are you? And he says that I am Ali, I am his son, this is Hussein. And they say that, Wallah, this is Hussein. And they say, how do you know? He says, how do you know that this is Hussein? You recognize an individual by his face. My father does not even have his head with him. And they say, oh Ali, for 3 nights now we constantly hear a woman who says, Ya Hussein, oh my son Hussein. We constantly hear this voice. Lady Zainab, she asked Imam Zain al-Abidin, Ya Sajjad, how were you able to bury my brother? That's what Imam Zain al-Abidin, he says, oh auntie dear, it was very difficult for me to bury my father. When I would give that janazah, when I would give the body down, I realized that there was no one in the grave to take it. And I would go down into the grave, there was no one to give that body. Oh Sajjad, what did you do? Oh auntie dear, I looked at Najaf and I said, Ya Jaddi, Adrikni. Oh grandfather dear, please help me. As soon as I said this, there were arms that came out of the ground. Lady Zainab, she asked, oh Sajjad, were they the arms of my father Ali? No, auntie dear, they were the arms of my grandmother Fatima.
Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Walla'natullah ala qawm al-kafirin. Matam Hussain.
होका मिलिया फजर दे वेले ते बगदाद दे शहर विचाले कोई कैदी मर गया कैद दे विच जदी कैद आई 14 साल आदन कोई रिश्तादार या वाकिफ होए ते घिने आन के मैयत संभाले नहीं ते बाज कफन मजदूरां दे कर दे सू मैयत हवाले। या हुसैन 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 जंजीरां दा कोई दर्द नहीं मुझे वतन दी जंजीरां दा कोई दर्द नहीं मुझे वतन दी जंजीरां दा कोई दर्द नहीं मुझे वतन दे जंजीरां दा कोई दर्द नहीं मुझे वतन दे जंजीरां दा कोई दर्द नहीं मुझे वतन दे। मूसा काज़िम नू है मूसा काज़िम नू दियां दी यादां दी जंजीरां दा कोई दर्द नहीं मुझे वतन दे जंजीरां दा कोई दर्द नहीं मुझे वतन दे जंजीरां दा कोई दर्द नहीं मुझे वतन दे। मूसा काज़िम नू है मूसा काज़िम नू दियां दी यादां दी जंजीरां दा कोई दर्द नहीं मुझे वतन दे जंजीरां दा कोई दर्द नहीं मुझे वतन दे। 14 साल दे कैदी दा कोई हाल भी पुछदा नहीं 14 साल दे कैदी दा कोई हाल भी पुछदा नहीं। संग दिल मुसलमाना संग दिल मुसलमाना कई वारी जहर दिती जंजीरां दा कोई दर्द नहीं मुझे वतन दे जंजीरां दा कोई दर्द नहीं मुझे वतन दे जंजीरां दा कोई दर्द नहीं मुझे वतन दे। ए जय तंग हा कोठड़ी जिथे बह भी नहीं संगदा ए जय तंग हा कोठड़ी जिथे बह भी नहीं संगदा। 14 साल रखू विच 14 साल रखू विच मेरे मौला कैद कटी जंजीरां दा कोई दर्द नहीं मुझे वतन दे जंजीरां दा कोई दर्द नहीं मुझे वतन दे जंजीरां दा कोई दर्द नहीं मुझे वतन दे। तड़ा कोई नहीं वतना ते सिंधी बिन शेख आखे तड़ा कोई नहीं वतना ते सिंधी बिन शेख आखे। अज तई कै पुत्र बिरा अज तई कै पुत्र बिरा नहीं आ मुलाकात की जंजीरां दा कोई दर्द नहीं मुझे वतन दे। जंजीरां दा कोई दर्द नहीं मुझ वतन दी।